Oh yeah, how we doing? Music off. One man engineer here. Welcome to Southern Fried Sports. It is Friday night. I hope you're ready for a great weekend and looking forward to talking a lot of sports with my friends here. We got James and Dean in the house. How y'all been, man?
Fine, you great.
Doing great. Hey, guess what? There's no rain today.
Yeah.
It's like every day has been rain. Like it's like, wow, what's going on? I'm used to just a bunch of rain.
Yeah, we had some this morning, but it's not raining that.
Oh, that's right. It did sprinkle just a little bit. I was in the studio.
Yeah.
So we're here. We've got we have a special guest over here that's off camera. So she's gonna keep an eye on us and make sure that we're doing a good job. She's over there with Georgia Bubba. Yeah. She's got him over there. He looks like he's asleep, snoring and having a good time. But yeah, we're going to talk a lot of different kinds of sports tonight. Come on in the chat and let us know if you got something of interest you want to talk about. We'll jump on it. And let's start off with some of the news and notes of what's going. Some things that kind of stand out, and then we'll dive in a little deeper. We can kind of take off anywhere we need to. I do want to look at the NFL Sunday night football schedule for the year, kind of review that. All the games are listed except one. Empty Pockets podcast. Yes, that show will be at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, brother. So yes, it will. We will go live at 8 for that. So this is our sports show. You're welcome to hang around and talk sports. Although we're not Ohio State fans.
No, not today.
Not today. But when you talk about news and things that's going on, I was just looking around. I want to start off with this Stephon Diggs story with the party boat, I guess it was.
Yeah.
And which players gonna party, but he had a baggie.
Yeah, a pink baggie.
Pink baggie, and there's some question about that, and it's not a good look for certainly a person of his caliber. He's a superstar, and he's one of the best at what he does, and okay. And we're not doing drag racing tonight. We do racing, but maybe we'll talk drag racing on the racing hour. Yeah. So see you at 8, brother. I'm not into
time on the racing hour.
Yeah, we'll talk about that on the racing hour. We can do some drag racing. But I just think that the NFL has tried. They've caught a lot of heat for the last few years. Yeah. We know why. Mm-hmm. A lot of the things about pregame, kneeling, and all that. Some of the violence that has happened in the NFL, they've been trying their best to clean a lot of that up and bring back some of those fans. Yeah. And I'm not saying this will push fans away, but it's a black eye.
It is.
That the NFL doesn't need. What are y'all's thoughts about that? And did he not realize somebody was filming him?
I mean, this day and time, with everybody having a camera phone, you're always on camera. Yeah. Sometimes you may not realize you are, but rarely are you not on camera anymore.
Right.
Everybody has access to a camera and camera phone or something that can video you in a compromising situation, especially if you're a high-profile athlete or celebrity.
Right.
So it's just, I'm sure if he could have done things differently, he probably would have, not chose to do that while he was being filmed, but sometimes you don't know you're being filmed. And
I'm not saying he'll get a lot of penalty out of this or whatever, but I think depending on the investigation, although nobody's admitting any kind of investigation, I think the team will be fined. I think he will be fined.
Yeah.
For it's against his contract. I mean, it's obviously. He's going to get hit by the team and probably by the NFL as well. But you just got to be smarter than that.
That's right.
Yeah, you do. And these teams, when you sign these contracts, they have a
zero tolerance
tolerance policy, and have an out clause. If you do, commit a crime, get arrested, or do something that you're not supposed to be doing that violates the contract,
That's right.
they can't. Sometimes they can't get out automatically, but they can. It's easier for them to void the years in the contract.
Right.
Yeah. And he had kind of went through a problem where he didn't have the kind of year that he had normally had. Some drops. He didn't dominate like he had. He's still a high profile player, a high productive player. And again, I just think it's I just it amazes me how some of these guys that and they're not rookies. I mean, they've been around a while.
Right.
That you allow yourself to be put in that position. It's like Antonio Brown. I mean, some of the stuff that he did.
Yeah.
It's like, what is wrong with you, man? I
True.
mean, be a professional. This is your job.
Yeah, he definitely had some issues, maybe mentally or something going on with his personal life that was just played out on the field and everywhere else. And you hate to see that. If you're a fan of the sport or a fan of the team, you hate to see one of the players just have a meltdown in real time, and some of those guys just they can't separate work from their personal life.
True.
It's very sad.
It is very sad. The camps will be opening up very soon. These are the OTAs. They will be, now that June 1st is right around the corner. The camps will all open up in July. Your first preseason games end of July, the Hall of Fame game, and then all the way through the month of August. They don't do as many now, but they do scrimmages as well. Some preseason. I think they're down to 3 or something like that.
Yeah.
And then you're just right into the season. So things are happening pretty quick. So it's the timing is the worst, because of where it happened. But I don't know. I just thought it was interesting that that's not the way you want to be coming into the season.
That's right.
As a professional. So we'll kind of see where it goes, monitor it, look at it over the next couple of weeks.
It's early in the situation, so you just never know how it's going to play out.
Yeah.
So
And, there's not a lot. I mean, outside of that, there's not a huge evidence. A lot of it can be assumption, but it's still, you just don't want to have that look.
Right.
And if you're that team and that fan base, that's not the way you want to be on the sports news. Is one of your top players, in that environment, and just be caught like that. So
Jamal Lewis with the Ravens a few years ago, he had the incident, and he was filmed, and they ended up cutting him from the team. So if you're a high-profile player making a lot of money on that team, they don't want to have to cut you. But if the league steps in and says, "Look, it's either you do something or we're going to suspend this guy for a whole year," you have to make that decision.
Right.
What's best for the team.
Yeah, and these can be crippling type things because you're working with a salary cap. You're building your team up, and this is the team that you think you're going to have. And if all of a sudden kind of something goes off the rails, and I'm going to use an extreme example, which we're all familiar with, and that would be the Michael Vick story. I know some people get mad that I would bring that up, but still, it happened.
It did.
And that rocked the Atlanta Falcons.
It set the franchise back 5 years. Because they hired Bobby Petrino for that year for Michael Vick, and Michael Vick got suspended, and Bobby Petrino left town. So they set the franchise back for years, and after luckily they got Matt Ryan eventually, and that kind of stabilized the franchise. But man, sometimes you can't stabilize after something like that happens. It could take a decade, for you to get right back on track, and it's just
one might
tricky situation.
could mention and it's somewhat, I think, the product of his past, but Deshaun Watson. That has not worked out.
No,
they have spent a lot of money. It's been a big failure, and the Falcons came really close to having that guy.
Yeah, they were. I mean, the contract was for so much. It's like 5 years, $250 million. So it would have been outrageous for the Falcons to go there anyway.
Sure,
but they almost
It was
they
really
almost
close.
bought it, and that would have affected the Falcons to this day. And thank goodness they changed their mind.
Right.
And with the Browns, with Shadir Sanders, he's in line to kind of compete for Deshaun Watson's job. And there's rumors around the Browns camp that he's on the verge of not making the team for the season. So we'll have to keep an eye on that too and see where Shadur, kind of ends up, because he was a top pick before the draft, and he just slid so far, and he may not even be on a team this year. So we'll just have to kind of keep an eye on that too and see where that goes.
Sure, I want to move on, but just because we're there, just to get your opinion, I expect you to know, but Deshaun Watson, what do you think happened? I mean, his talent, the guy was extremely talented. Is it because he was off the field for a while? Is it the totality of all the lawsuits and the all that going on? Was it just that the Browns are bad? I don't know. They've always been bad, but not always. But
the reason why he's been out here recently is he had an injury. I think he had like a torn ACL or something, and that's why he's out now. And they kind of got past the legal issues there for a season, and since he's been out, there's been more legal issues. So there's just one thing after the other with that guy. And you hate it for that guy because he's a local talent. He's from the Atlanta area.
That's right.
So
superstar at Clemson, and he wore out the Tide. Let's just face it. Him and the receiver, they just eat him alive on that side. I'm sorry, Bama fans. I know that
was a
sorry.
Sore memory for some Bama fans.
Sore memory. All right, let's move on over and let's talk a little baseball. Okay. What in the world do you think? And last week we said the Braves had to win the series against Philly.
Yeah,
didn't happen.
No, it didn't.
They kind of went one step forward and two steps back. I'm sure it's in Dean's notes he has, but you lose a series, you win one game, because they had to do a doubleheader because it's rained in Philadelphia as much as it's rained here lately. So they had the doubleheader, and they lost A.J. Smith, Sawyer, and so you not only lose the series, you lose one of your starting pitchers. So it's it's just. Well, I don't know. They need some good luck, and right now they got bad luck.
They're 9.5, and I don't want to get into Dean's notes, but I would at this point just say, do you think the Braves can keep it under 10, or is this a sign that the team is going to start falling further behind?
I think they got fall under.
Yeah, it's just to me they don't have enough pieces. You got to have, you got to be healthy, and the last thing they need is to get more of their pitchers hurt, or starting lineup hurt. You don't need that when you're trying to work your way back into contention. And
right.
And it's just if you're below 500 or 500, it's not going to help you make the playoffs.
That's right.
Yeah, looking at the kind of where we're at, the Yankees are still up by 6.5 on Tampa Bay. Toronto 7.5. Boston's kind of hanging at the same place as the Braves, 9.5. Then Baltimore is just walking it in because they're 16 out. Detroit up by 6 on the Guardians and the Twins. Kansas City Royals not playing too bad, 30-27. They're 7 out. The White Sox, what have happened to them? 16.5 out. Seattle, and this is the best division in the American League for most of it because it's a little tighter, but Seattle is up by half a game on Houston. Texas is 4, Angels are 5, but the Athletics are still under 10. They're at 8 back. Of course, in the National League East, the Phillies are up by 2 on the Mets. I got to say the Mets are still playing pretty good.
Well, the Phillies are playing better. They were 8 of their last 10. When you win 8 out of 10 games, that's the other teams in the division have to match that or do better. And it's hard to do better in stretches, because a long season you have winning streaks and losing streaks. But if a team's winning, you got to kind of win your series along with them to kind of keep pace.
Yeah, and they're 8-2. The Mets are 5-5. The Braves are 3-7 over the last 10.
Yeah,
The Nationals though are 7-3. They're going to overtake the Braves if they don't watch out, because that's only a half game difference between them. Miami 13 out. The Cubs are still leading the way in the Central over the Cardinals by 2.5. The Brewers hanging in there, 1 game over 500, 6 games back, and they're playing a little bit better than the Cardinals. They're 7-3 over the last 10, where the Cardinals are 6-4, so 1 game better. The Reds 6.5 out. Pittsburgh 14 out already, but have won 6 out of their last 4. The Dodgers have not had a great last 10 games. They're 5-5. Their last game was a loss. They're only up by 2 of the Padres. I got to give the Padres credit, man. They're playing good.
Padres they're a well-hitting team. I'm not sure about their pitching, but they got some bombers on that team.
They do. Padres. I'm sure the Dodgers didn't think by even this far of the season they'd have any threats.
Yeah.
The Padres are bringing, and the Giants are only 3 back.
Wow. Competitive division.
Now, and looking at the last 10, none of them have played well. The Dodgers slightly better, 5-5, but the Padres 4-6, and the Giants 4-6. The Dodgers better be glad that they didn't, because they could have lost the lead to that division.
Yeah.
Arizona 7 back, and the Colorado Rockies 25 games back. This may be one of the worst starts in Major League Baseball history, and I don't know the records on it, but I think that's probably
it's right up there. It's one of the worst.
It is bad.
I mean,
but speaking of the Rockies, they did sign Orlando Arcia.
I saw that.
So if you're a bottom dweller, you can, you can kind of pick up the scraps from the other teams, and I'm sure they're just trying to bring in new players and get a spark, and you'd rather have a veteran player come in, utility infielder, than to try to bring a rookie in, because usually the rookie struggles. But Arcia, he's been struggling the past 2 or 3 years. So usually those players, when they lose their mojo, they really don't get it back.
The big word is if, and if he got his bat back in Colorado, that would be great for them.
Yeah, I
He hit a lot of home runs there.
I hope he does.
Nothing against him. It just didn't work out.
Yeah.
That 1 year, he looked like he was really going. People make adjustments. Pitchers adjust.
Yeah.
Some players do not do good at adjusting. Some are excellent at adjusting. Some do not. And once you figure out a guy's weakness, if he doesn't correct it, they will eat you alive. Who was it the Braves had a few years ago that could not hit the dadgum curveball and slider? He could nail the fastball, and I'm trying to think of who that was. He'd swing over it, around it. He finally got a little bit better, but he was just one of those guys that was mainly a situational hitter. He just could not he was ugly. He just could not pick up the curveball. And they just know how to change. They're masters at it, know how to change speeds, rotation of the ball, the placement of the ball, the release point as it's coming out of their hand, hiding the ball a little further. Some guys are not good at that. Some guys, you can do all that, and it don't matter. They're going to bash you. A little more than 3 out of every 10, which is about the best anybody does anymore. But, really, really bad for them. So we'll see where this goes. But there's a lot of teams that, if they don't get turned around quick, they're going to be playing for 26.
And, when you're a hitter, you have a hot zone and a cold zone. And pitchers exploit that. They will throw it in that cold zone every time and make you hit the ball. Because if you're batting 350 in your hotter zone and .91 in your cold zone, they're going to throw it to that cold zone.
That's right.
Because they know the odds are in their favor if they can hit the spot that you're not good at. So it works to the pitcher's advantage when you're struggling with one area.
I'll say this and we'll move on. There are some batters who really only are effective when the pitcher's missing.
Right.
Some batters can hit the pitcher's best stuff sometimes. That's because they're that good.
Oh, yeah.
Some players, the only time they really do good is when the pitcher makes a mistake. If the pitcher gets it where they want, they don't hit. So, they'll say, oh, he hit a home run, and the pitcher knows what he did. He floated the curve, or he didn't have the right location. That's why the Braves back in the day, the pitchers were so impressive because they could paint the corners, as they say, and change speeds from side to side, up and down.
But you'd have to have an umpire work with you and know that you like to paint the corners.
Sure.
Because Bobby Cox would be ejected so many times because he'd get that umpire, Angel Hernandez or somebody like that would just, man, they would not give him the corners. So they would end up walking a lot of people. And, Tom Glavine would struggle in the early innings, giving up runs. But if they had those umps that would let them paint the corners, they would just, paint it with their brush all game long, and they were unhittable.
Oh, yeah. Great. All right, let's move on, and let's talk just briefly. And the college, the girls' college softball World Series is in full swing, and I think we were talking before the show came on. Tennessee's in the elimination game.
Yeah, it's Florida. They're the third-ranked team, and the Vols are the seventh-ranked team, and it's actually playing tonight. I think their game is the earlier game, maybe at 7 o'clock. Maybe they're on in the next 30 minutes or so. And Ole Miss plays Oregon. Ole Miss is actually unranked in the rankings, and Oregon's the 16th ranked team. So, when you're playing elimination games, sometimes it's double elimination, single elimination. But when you got that single elimination, you at least want to be the home team, where you can bat last, have that last chance to win the game.
Yeah, that is huge. The rise of girls softball competitively has that's exploded in my lifetime.
Yeah.
I remember there was no, but I do want to touch briefly. There was a snippet of a game where one of the girls' teams where the pitcher was just mowing them down.
Oh yeah.
And well, how do I put this? Let's just say it wasn't always a girl.
Oh, wow.
And that was in the news, and so there's people upset about that. Did you see that?
Yes.
Very tall. Not trying to offend anybody, but it's a male who has became a female.
Right. I saw that.
And there's again, females are upset because of the strength and power that this person has.
Right.
And these girls are frustrated because again, it's hard enough to hit it anyway. But when you put somebody in that has the velocity and strength that they have, that's again, I'll say it's not fair.
Yeah,
I don't. It's a problem we have that is not going away, and they're trying to figure out in our nation how to deal with this. So again, not trying to be offensive, but there's a competitive advantage
it is.
in this example. And so it would be a shame to see one of these girls' teams knocked out who have fought so hard because of that.
Sure.
And that's a problem.
You want to play the game. You don't want to forfeit the game. But
sure.
Some ladies are, they stand up and say, "Look, it's to me it's unfair, and I refuse to play against an unfair advantage." And they have a right to their opinion and say, "Look, I want to play in a woman's sport against a biological woman."
True.
It's a sticky situation, especially in some states. They encourage it, so that, a lot of those players from those teams, they end up doing well because they're allowed to play and they're allowed to just dominate their sport.
Yeah, and when we say that, certainly there are some girls that can play competitive with the boys' teams, but overall, when you look at it's just the way it is.
Right.
The truth of the matter is that typically these biological males, they're going to be bigger with more strength.
Yeah.
Mostly, there may be a girl here and there that can, but they're just going to have more. They're going to be faster. They're going to be stronger. The ball's going to be a lot faster. Yeah. And that has to be extremely frustrating. You've worked your whole career to get to this point, and you have to deal with that.
Right. In most of these situations, the athlete that changes, sports from the, male to female, they're usually ranked at the bottom of their male sport.
True.
But they go to the female sport and they're ranked near the top. So, you can tell right there that there's some sort of disadvantage, going on with that player, and that there needs to be more scrutiny from the leagues than there is. The leagues don't want to get in trouble. They don't want lawsuits. They don't want fines and all that. So they try to take the high road, but at the same time, you have the Title IX. You have to protect women's sports, or they'll just go away. You'll have a lot of top women just not want to play anymore because they're not going to get the scholarships, or they're not going to get the endorsements because they're no longer considered the top player in their sport. So you're going to have a lot of women just shy away from being competitive, and women's sports like the WNBA, they don't get paid that much because they don't really have an office, but they have Caitlin Clark, and she dominated in college sports, and and she's bringing crowds and ratings to the WNBA that never really happened for them like it has since she's got there, and she's kind of villainized for that, but you want people like that to help your sport and help it grow and help it get more viewership, but at the same time, women do deserve to be paid more than what they're paid, but you have to justify their payment. You have to have the audience, and you have to have the revenue to pay them better.
You do, and I think it's really ridiculous, the jealousy. These players are making more money because of her coming in, because of Angel Reese coming in, because of this excitement, and that's going to manifest itself in a whole lot more girls that are going to try to play basketball to get to the WNBA, and it should be good for all. And instead, we got controversy, and now she's hurt some. I mean, they beat on her enough that now she's dealing with some injuries. They should be happy that the stands are full. I mean, they should, just play the game. And
if you're I'm sure there's some jealousy going along with that.
Sure.
Because if you're considered one of the top players, I mean, in a lot of sports, and like in NASCAR, they will probably try to bump you more than they will, just a rookie. Because they want to beat you, they want to be better than you, they want to get your endorsement that you have and take your spot. So when you're going for that top spot, you don't have many friends.
No, you don't.
No, and let's slide and talk NBA just for a second. I want to bring up something to that point. Then we'll take a quick break and come to Dean's notes. But speaking of that, the jealousy, I'm an old guy, but going back. He had a lot of talent. Not that he couldn't jump as much as some, but Larry Bird was one of those players that I know a lot of players are probably jealous of.
Oh, yeah.
Because this guy, he wasn't the leaper. I mean, that was not his skill. But the guy could shoot, pass, play defense.
I have an interest in Larry Bird's stat. It's hard to believe, but it's an actual stat. Give me a second.
No problem. But what I was going to say is that him. Players like him, Magic Johnson, Dr. J, who was a little bit further back in the 70s, but was still he was a young player, still bringing that excitement. The NBA exploded at that point. And so it was good for everybody. And Larry was on a good team. He was playing with a lot of great players. But, who was this kid coming along? They were looking at other players as being the superstar, and he's smoking everybody on his shooting, passing, playing, and they built championship squads.
Okay, Larry Bird is the only person. There's only one guy that's named Larry Bird in NBA history to win Rookie of the Year, Most Valuable Player, Finals MVP, All-Star MVP, Coach of the Year, and Executive of the Year. So this guy has done it all.
Yeah,
he did everything you could do.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I did not know that. Well, let's take a quick break. We'll come back. Let's just real quick. the NBA playoffs, and let's just mention the Knicks real quick because I did want to mention that. They still got to win, but the Knicks fans, they're excited.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They are starved for a winner. The Knicks have been bad for so long.
Yeah.
They've been more famous for what's happened in the stands than what's happened on the court.
You know, they've had good players over the years. Carmelo Anthony, they tried to win with him. They had, you know, the Derrick Roses and good players that just were never able to advance in the finals, you know, since the Patrick Ewing days. And those were, you know, 20, 30 years ago when they had Patrick Ewing. So
yeah,
to get back, you know, as far as they've gone, it's real, you know, a real good thing for that market. So
yeah, their owner I think is an idiot, and I'll say it. I don't like the guy. I just don't like how he does. I thought he's been tremendously disrespectful to former players.
Yeah.
They didn't need to act like what they did. I'm not defending that, but he has created a lot of problems, and it just needs to be better. But the Knicks fans are excited. They're ready for this game, and if they win, boy, it'll be some. The energy in Madison Square Garden will be unlike it's been in a long, long time.
You talk about arguments between, you know, the WNBA, the Caitlin Clark and the Griner girl.
Yeah.
They were listening to it recently, you know.
Yeah, they're having a lot of jealous issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've always looked at the girls' game as being just a different style of play.
Right.
It seems as though they've really tried to become more like the guys.
Yeah, how?
Yeah.
And it's become much more violent to me. And I think that's I don't know. Play aggressive, play tough.
Right.
But the cheap shots and stuff like that,
Right.
Intentionally thucking somebody to the ground and all that.
Yeah.
I didn't really, just play the game.
Right.
Just play the game. That's what I say.
Oh, yeah.
Let's take a quick break. We're gonna come back and Dean's gonna wow us with some Dean's notes, and so that's his specialty, and we're excited to have him here. Let me find my video here. Hey, don't forget Cornbread. Cornbread is your Patriot Mobile promo code. Rob got switched over today. He said the same thing I said. He said, "Man, that was easy. Great customer service, and I could understand the guy." So Rob's got his personal phone over there now. I've got another one. I'm switching over. Make the switch today and support this great company. And right now we're going to play a Mammoth Nation ad. They have a half price deal right now for lifetime to be a lifetime member. And I know $125 sounds like a lot, but you're going to make a lot of savings. You can still do the $5 a month, but I'm telling you, this only happens once a year. They're doing this half price. And also on the Patriot Mobile, they're doing a referral program right now. If you switch over to Patriot Mobile and you refer somebody and they use your name or code or whatever, you're going to get $50 per referral towards off of your phone bill or towards a new phone. We've got to get a card up for it. They just announced that this week, and we're still scrambling to get that up into the ads. But Patriot Mobile, the $50 referral program, Mammoth Nation half price on lifetime membership. We'll be right back. Hey, Southern Fried fans and your Cornbread Nation. Well, yeah, that's right. We're going to advertise for Mammoth Nation. To all proud Americans, we call attention to these thoughts. Are you tired of woke corporations that don't align with your values? I know we are. Look no further than Mammoth Nation, the ultimate destination for patriots like you and me and Rob and everybody else, including old crazy Uncle Jeb, who believe in putting America first. Here at the Southern Fried Podcast, we're proud to partner with Mammoth Nation because they share our unwavering commitment to faith, family, and yes, freedom. Just like us, Mammoth Nation believes in the power of the American spirit and the importance of preserving our great nation's heritage. When you join Mammoth Nation, you're not just getting access to amazing discounts on products and services. You're becoming a part of a community that stands against the forces trying to tear our country apart. From supporting veterans and first responders to promoting Christian values, Mammoth Nation is the go-to platform for conservatives who want to make their voices heard. So what are you waiting for? Join the Mammoth Nation movement today and start enjoying exclusive deals from businesses that share your America First values. Together, we can make America great again, one purchase at a time. Don't miss out on this opportunity to support a company that truly cares about our nation's future. Sign up for Mammoth Nation now and experience the difference of a community that puts America first. Use that QR code on the screen, folks, and that will take you right to the website where we also will be helped in your support of these values. We are customers of this great American company. Rob is a monthly supporter, and I am a lifetime member of Mammoth Nation. We're so appreciative of companies like this. Please be a supporter, not just for us, but for America. These companies need our support. We're patriots. Stand together with patriots. Take care, and God bless. All right, we're back, and we appreciate everybody being here. And Dean, just so you know, Mom gave us a thumbs up, so she's watching. Appreciate you, Mom.
Thanks, Mom.
All right, Dean's notes again brought to you by Patriot Mobile, and coming in and talking about Braves and whatever he wants to talk about. I don't mess with Dean's notes. That's his notes. It could be anything. He might even do racing notes. That's fine. This is a sports show.
Whatever you want to talk about.
All right, here's the Braves. Kenya got his first home run Friday, May the 23rd.
Yeah.
Since he got hurt and come back.
Mm-hmm.
Braves recalled left-hander Dylan Dodd, the ad outfitter Jose Oscar, the big league roster. Jose Oscar will upset. Call-up is upset, but the I can't read tonight. Sorry, folks.
You're fine.
But the roster is a desperation. Fairchild's absence is temporary, but like I said, the roster is problem isn't temporary. The roster is in big trouble this year.
They're having a lot of injury issues right now, and it's hard to have a winning streak when you have injuries.
That's Dean's notes.
Because you gotta be great.
Yeah, they've got problems, and I want to apologize because I told you to have Acuna's home run up, and I forgot.
It's okay.
So we'll get that up. Though I do want to come back and look.
He actually hit another one the next night.
He did. I know.
And he had a 3-game hitting streak with the extra bases. Had he hit an extra base in the 4th game, which didn't happen, but had he done that, he would have tied Hank Aaron for doing that starting the season, which is a late start, but he still started the season with 4 extra base hits had he done that. But he's kind of cooled off a little bit, but he's helping them score the runs, and it's hard to win games if you're not scoring runs. And the game last night against the Phillies, they won 9-3. But you're not going to win every game 9-3. You got to score runs.
Did you see Strutter's plunking?
Oh yeah, I mean he didn't do it on purpose.
It wasn't on purpose.
But there was somewhat of a retaliation later in the game that they say, "Oh no, it didn't happen." But what happens. They'll pick a moment where they can just kind of give you a receipt and say, "Here you go. You're going to hit our guy. We hit your guy." And some umpires let it slide, but others won't do that. They'll just throw them out as soon as it happens to avoid any fights or any altercations.
Oh yeah, I'm going to share screen right now, and I want to look at some of the Sunday Night Football. We've been breaking down the schedule for 2025. We looked at the Monday Night Football games last week, and guys, week 1 is a barn burner. I mean, the Sunday night game between the Baltimore Ravens and the Buffalo Bills. That's a great matchup. I definitely once I get back from it comes on after I get in from church. I definitely will be front row seat watching that.
Yeah.
Both these teams are still Super Bowl contenders.
Oh yeah.
Extremely talented, and both of them have the same problem. Yeah. They haven't gotten it done, and the question is, are they going to do it?
I mean, they're both capable teams. They have the rosters to do it. But when you play in the same division as the Kansas City Chiefs, it's the same side as them. You have to beat the Chiefs. The Chiefs are the team to beat on the AFC side, and you have to find a way to beat the Kansas City Chiefs, and they just can't do it.
Yeah, and both teams have all they need. I don't think they need anything else. They just got to do it.
Yeah.
Second game, our Atlanta Falcons are at the Vikings.
That could be a homecoming for Kirk Cousins. You hope he doesn't play. You hope Phoenix plays, but
I know.
We'll see if Kirk Cousins plays in that game or not.
Hello, Brusky Bear. Thanks for being here, brother. I look forward to that one too because I'm a Falcons fan. That'd be a great matchup, though. Could be. Who knows? You never know what's going to happen. The Chiefs and the Giants. I don't know about the Giants. They seem to be putting a better product on the field, but I don't see the big leap forward yet I think they believe that's going to happen.
Yeah, they have quarterback issues, so
it's bad. That's why I say the Falcons at least got two that they could use. The Packers and the Cowboys. Cowboy Cook. I don't know if you listen to that. He's our Cowboys fan, but that's a great matchup. Week 4, Packers Cowboys. That's an old one right there. Remember the old frozen tundra? The frozen tundra of Lambeau Field.
Yeah.
I play that one whenever Cook gets a little too uppity because he said they couldn't dig in. It was iced over. They couldn't dig in. I'm like, well, that's just tough, man. He hates that game. New England Patriots getting a Sunday night game.
Yeah, that's they're playing Buffalo, and that's a good rivalry for that part of the country. And you would think Buffalo would just kind of walk into that game confident and walk out with a big win. But who knows?
I don't see Patriots beating Buffalo at Buffalo. That even early as that is, it's not.
It's October game at Buffalo, so you could be snow in October. You never know with Buffalo.
Yeah, another great game. I love this one. Detroit at Kansas City. That's another team. Can they put it all together? They were just beating everybody, the socks off of everybody, and then it kind of went away. But they've got all their players. Their team is intact.
Yeah.
And they'll be a threat to win it all. The Bengals and the Ravens. Bengals haven't quite got back to where they were. Not yet. We'll see what they look like. That's at Baltimore. That's pretty tough for them, but I wouldn't count them out, but I think Baltimore's probably got that. The 49ers are back. They say McCaffrey's healthy. They said Christian McCaffrey, the running back for the 49ers.
Yeah, he's a difference maker. If he's in the game, he can win you a game.
This is getting around the midpoint of the season. Of course, the quarterback got the big contract. So San Francisco's looking to get back in there and make it. Seattle, kind of a changing. They're competitive. They're kind of trying to get back to where they were. I would think the 49ers here though are favored in this game. This is really the worst game yet. I'm sorry, Dolphins fans, but the Dolphins and the Jets.
Yeah, I don't.
This is a bad game.
I don't get that game.
I don't either. I don't even want to assume. I would assume, though, that the Dolphins are probably favored, even though it's at the Jets, because the Jets are still a mess. Don't know if they're going to be straightened out by then at all. I just don't like this game. I think that's not a good pick for
the Dolphins got Tua Tagovailoa, and he just, he hasn't been healthy. He's had a few concussions since he's been there. And if he's somewhat healthy, if they can keep him upright, maybe the Dolphins, have a great year, but
that's a lot of ifs and maybes in that statement.
That's a question mark. And the Jets, they won't have Aaron Rodgers. So who else do they have?
They have a new coach. We're going to see, but I think this is a bad game. I do. I would see the Dolphins winning.
Yeah.
We'll see. Great game on Week 10. Eagles, Cowboys, legend. Both of them are high-powered. Dallas is glad to have that one at home.
Oh, yeah.
That does give them a little bit of a boost there. But the Eagles are obviously playing all world.
Yeah.
We'll see what it looks like. Then the Lions and the Eagles the very next week. Oh, yeah. That's kind of a weird scheduling there. You got the Eagles there back to back on that. That's kind of strange.
Yeah, they're giving the Eagles a lot of love. And they won the championship, so they'll be featured more on on all their primetime games, you would think. And
yeah, I think so, but I just mean that that it's back-to-back Sunday night football. That's what it's kind of, but prime time, I get it. I get it. Big games too. Lions, Eagles, big games. All right, I'll be fair. I'm not gonna say it's a great game. It's a great rivalry.
Oh yeah.
Saints at the Falcons. Can the Saints get their season turned around? they've got question marks too.
Yeah, they have quarterback questions too. They're losing Derek Carr, and they were rumored to get to draft Shedeur Sanders, but it didn't happen. And who's driving the boat for New Orleans, and that'll be their season if they can kind of straighten out the quarterback issues, bring a journeyman quarterback in there, and maybe that's a competitive game at the end of the year. You don't really know how the Falcons are going to do, by week 12. So it's kind of a toss-up game because of Phoenix. Can he stay healthy, or or will Cousins play in that game? So it'll be kind of interesting to see that.
All right, the Bengals and the Ravens, and we're getting towards the end of the season. The Rams and the 49ers. I wonder how the Rams will look. They've done pretty well, but they do still have some aging going on. They've got some young players, but interesting. I would think the 49ers would be favored in this game. And another bad game.
But that's the Rams. So will Matthew Stafford be the quarterback, or will Stetson Bennett be the quarterback if he's still on the Rams? So that would be kind of interesting to see if that happens, that late in the year. Because Stafford, when he's healthy, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. But he's kind of aging, and he gets hurt a lot. So we'll just see who the Rams quarterback is in that game.
If Stetson Bennett got in and was leading the team, I know he doesn't. He can make the throws. He doesn't have the arm that Stafford has. I'm not suggesting that. If they would modify the offense just a little bit, there's no doubt in my mind he could lead them to victories.
Yeah.
But you got to modify the offensive play calls a little bit. A lot of movement. I know you don't want your quarterback running all the time, but he's a guy that can get out of trouble and get you yards. And he's sneaky. He's sneaky fast. He's sneaky quick. And he can make throws that will shock you. I mean, you just don't think he's going to do. He'll make a bad throw, then he comes back and makes a great throw. Yeah. I'd like to see him just get a little bit of time. I don't see anybody hurt. But I'd like to just see what he can do.
Yeah, I think, last year they had him in the preseason a lot, trying to, see what he could do. And I think this year in the preseason they'll, give him a lot of chances to kind of get a lot of reps and things, and we'll see where his career goes. But as long as he can stay on the roster, that'll be good for Stetson Bennett.
Yes, and I do root for him. We'll always root for him. Patriots at the Dolphins, another bad game. I'm sorry. The Chiefs at the Broncos. Broncos an interesting team. I think that they're getting it turned around.
Mm-hmm.
I do like the quarterback, and I know people in the SEC crack on him, and I know he didn't have the season he wanted to have, but this guy's got the tools, man. I'm telling you. Denver plays great at home. Teams aren't used to that altitude, and if he can solidify that position, that's one of the best fan bases in the NFL. They'll love that guy. They will support him and cheer. They already do. So we'll see. Then the last two have not been determined. They're going to wait and see who's doing good towards the end of the year.
Yeah, they'll go. Those will be based on records and who's fighting for playoff spots.
Yeah,
more than likely.
So we'll continue to do that as we go each week, and just sort of as we get ready for the camps to open. We'll have NFL camp news. We'll have a camp roundup. We'll be seeing things wrap up. The NHL we haven't talked about yet. We'll mention in just a second. Mm-hmm. NHL will be wrapped up. NBA will be wrapped up. A lot of these things. The baseball will be getting towards the playoff time, the end of the season playoffs. We'll transition and do some camp news from the NFL and kind of break down each team. We can start doing that. We can look at each team, look at who they lost, who they got, weak points, strengths, and just kind of. I think it'd be fun. We could have a spot for that.
Oh yeah.
And when the Braves are done, we'll just have Dean do Dean's notes on the Falcons.
Okay.
Yeah,
I can do that. Yeah.
Dean's notes on. He could be the Dirty Bird report.
Yeah. I like that.
I like it. So
just don't give me the bird.
No bird, Mama, no bird.
So that'd be a lot of fun. The NHL is moving into the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, the Stanley Cup.
And
big time for the NHL right now.
Big time.
It's also you know, a repeat of last year's Stanley Cup Finals with the Edmonton Oilers and the Florida Panthers, and you know, the Florida Panthers, they won it last year over the Oilers, and it's been 35 years, I think, since, you know, the Edmonton Oilers have won the championship. And last year it was 30 years before the Florida Panthers had won it. So can the Oilers kind of get a little revenge this time? We'll see there.
Oh yeah. So it'd be a great time. Who's going to drink out of the cup? You know, and hockey's just different. They do things different. And it ought to be that's a seven game, right? Just like the others.
Yeah.
So do they do their schedule kind of like, I don't really know. Do they do the back and forth, or do they do like 2 and then 2 and
I believe
then
it's
1,
2,
1, 1?
2, and maybe 2, 3, and 2, like some of the other
Okay, I couldn't
sports.
remember.
I think so.
Be tuning in, try to catch as much as I can. Always want to get on some of that. And while we still have time, let's talk racing just for a second.
Yeah.
It is sports, even though we have a racing show.
Yeah.
Dean, they're headed to Nashville.
Oh yes.
And
Beach City.
Yeah.
today would be qualifying. I didn't get to hear anything.
No, I didn't either. Tonight's a truck race.
Tonight's the truck race.
Yeah.
What time does that kick off?
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock on
Is it FS1?
FS1.
Okay.
FS1. There was,
My mind's not with me right now.
That's okay.
Just took over it.
then the Xfinity Saturday
tomorrow
night. And I think in the Xfinity there's a little bit of controversy
Yes, they are controversial.
over the disqualification. Is that
Yes.
it?
Yes.
What? I know we're not the racing show, but let's mention it while we got everybody here. What is this about?
Okay.
I really haven't studied it.
Okay. I can do this right now. Josh Belicki, number 66, Garage 66, penalized for right rear detect from vehicle in the Coca-Cola 600, lap 49. Tire changer and jackman suspended for 2 races till June 8th, Michigan International Speedway. Saturday Xfinity race, Daniel Dye penalized for right rear detachment from vehicle last Saturday.
Oh, wow.
Sending wheel into tire barrier, lap 200. Right rear detachment, right rear tire changer, jackman suspended till June 14th, Mexico City.
Wow.
So it's
So
happening a lot.
Yes. If you lose a tire, you get penalized.
and one more controversial thing from NASCAR is, and they stopped it, and was this idea that the Francis would enter a car.
Yes.
Drivers were not happy, especially Hamlin. Hamlin was very vocal about
right.
this, and they backed off of it, but they were going to enter a car, one car, I think it was.
Yes.
And that's kind of weird. Like you have the leaders of the sport entering a car into the field. It was controversial.
It was controversial. Then they got mad that NASCAR, everybody in the French family owned NASCAR. They wanted it split up between the owners.
Yeah.
Like Penske owns a team that owned NASCAR. Hendricks owns a team that owned NASCAR. They wanted it split up, but NASCAR said no.
So they'll
French
be on
family.
Charlotte as well, Charlotte Motor Speedway.
The what now?
The French is on the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
No. Burton.
Burton.
Burton Smith owns Charlotte.
Okay.
Burton Smith owns Speedway Motorsports.
Okay.
And he needs to pave Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Yes.
Because that's ridiculous. What we saw going on in that race. So who's do you know who? Can you remember off the top of your head? I've hit you. Who's leading the trucks? Who's out front right now?
Hang on a minute, I'll tell you.
All right.
I could get that.
Folks, the truck racing is cool. I love that when they brought it
I do
in.
too.
I doubted it when they first come in. I thought, how's that going to look? That's some cool racing. I like those trucks. And always a lot of good racing on the Xfinity. I've always liked that. But so who's leading the trucks?
Right now, Corey Haim is leading the truck race. Big Chandler Smith, Daniel Hemrick third, Tyler Income's fourth, Grant Inkfinger is fifth.
Okay. Do any of those drivers race in NASCAR as well? Or?
No,
No,
Daniel Hambrick used to race NASCAR.
Okay.
Used to race Cup,
Okay.
but he stepped back.
When you get cut out of the big leagues, you got to find a race somewhere. So
Yes,
you know
yes.
the paydays ain't as much, but
No, it ain't.
you have a lot of fun and race and
Right.
yeah. I think there's a little. I think the fisticuffs will happen a little more in the trucks
Yes, they do.
at the
They do.
Xfinity race. So yeah, Sugar Nice. I can't read what they said. Oh, go Philadelphia Eagles. Well, yeah, I guess they since they dominated Eagles.
Yeah.
So yeah. Well, all right, folks, we're right here at the time. Our sports hour is up. Any closing thoughts, guys, on what you're looking for this weekend in
I'm
the
looking forward
sports?
to Nashville the most. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nashville, James, what?
Well, we'll see what happens with these playoff games with the NHL and the NBA, and we'll see if the New York Knicks can make it to the finals. You know, that would be a big story if the New York Knicks can make it back. So, and the Braves. You know, as a fan, you're hopeful, but you also have to be realistic. You can't get too far back. You know,
All
you
right.
can still root for them.
Next week, and I don't know what night is our show next week because you
Thursday.
Thursday night next
Thursday.
week. We're going to see what if the Braves are still under 10.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wear a Braves rally hat. I'm gonna turn it
Okay.
around and wear it for the show, and try to change the mumbo jumbo of this thing and try to get something moving. And if the Knicks win this thing,
Hey.
I'm gonna wear a Knicks hat for a show. If the
Great.
Knicks win, I'm not a Knicks fan, but if the Knicks win, I'll wear one for the show.
And the racing show is what, Tuesday?
Yes, the racing show is Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on both of those. And we're going to, by the way, the SFP Racing Hour is up in our store. Me and Robert doing updates, and it is in our store. That is available for merch item buys.
That's great.
We're going to be getting a lot up. The sports show will be going up. We're updating a lot of stuff right now in our store. We'll have more news about that soon. We had a few things we need to correct. There's a lot of news coming from the podcast here soon on some things. So stay with us. And we appreciate you watching, appreciate you following, appreciate these gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you
They bring passion,
thank you
excitement.
for having me on.
Oh, we're excited to have you on. And I cannot wait to see where this goes and what we do with it. And we've even got a special guest tonight.
Yeah.
You want to be?
Yeah.
You want to be on camera? Come on over.
Hey. Come on, say hey.
Come on over and say hey. This is a real superstar right here.
Say hey, everybody. A good show.
Say see you next week.
See you next week.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, folks. We'll go out with some music and we'll see you next time. Remember, 8 o'clock tonight will be our front porch talking, and we're celebrating the birthday which Rob was out of town. We're celebrating our 1 year anniversary, which was Monday, and we're just going to invite people up on stage and see what they want to say. So a lot of our friends and stuff. If you want to do it, just email us at our email, and we'll bring you up if you can watch. If not, we'll see you next time on whatever show you can catch us on. And see you soon. Take care. Salute and fist bump to my guys and your crew now.
Yeah.
So there we go.